Hello, fellow Hunters of the Blue, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to another live stream after months of traveling around Europe doing master classes. I'm back. I'm a husk of a man. I'm so tired, and tomorrow I have to get up at 5 o'clock to go to Valencia to do my last class for the season. But I am here. We're going to do the Royal Retinue review, which is the live stream where I spend a little bit of time to give thank you to all my patrons and channel members, which they can submit one miniature for review. And today we have 10 entries, and which is quite a lot for this review. Quite understandable since I haven't done this since June, but we're going to jump straight in, do the Royal Retinue review, and even though it's still way too hot to put my crown on, I think I've earned this. Oh yeah, feels good to be back. So, why don't we jump straight into the review? Because sadly, although I do love to spend a little bit more time here than I probably should, I need to have this done early because again, I need to go to bed and still need to have dinner. I still need to do a lot of things like prepare my travel stuff, which camera, all the stuff that is recording me now, I need to put in the back because I have a class tomorrow. I need to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I think we should just go and jump straight into the review. I'm going to go quite fast, so if I don't see your questions in the chat or something like that, please have patience. Let's go. Okay, so let's jump right in. Here we have the first entry is from Mark, and it's a beautiful, beautiful bust. One of the, one of those incredible. I think it's Pina or something like that. The sculptor. He's a very famous sculptor. He does this kind of very, whimsical busts, and this is one painted by Mark. And I think the main issue I'm having here is that some bits just feel a little bit unpainted, so to speak. For example, this whole section is, it's just gray, and in some others, like this side of the face, it just it just feels empty. It feels empty. So I mm, let's talk about first of all about the light composition. You have a warm light coming from this direction. Let me open a new. There you go. So I can actually do this. So we have a warm light. Oops, damn it. Okay. So we have a warm light coming from this direction, more or less, like this. And it's illuminating the face of these two guys like half and half. But I think a more attractive once crown is growing. Yes, there you go. So I think a slightly more attractive kind of a highlight pattern would be to have a little bit more of a Rembrandt style. So I think, let me grab one of these like warmer ochre colors. I think we should actually highlight some of the bits. Oh, I hate this brush. Wait a second. Let me grab one of the brushes that I like. Oh, I almost had it. Come back. Go. Go. Oh, much better now. Second. I think I haven't done this in a while. Okay, please don't judge. I haven't done this in quite a while. Okay, I think this is going to be just fine. So here, I think we should get this warmer highlight a little bit more onto this side of the face as well. So like that, and then we can go into the brighter. Oops, damn it. So sort of like that. Just adding a little bit more on the. I know the eye isn't highlighted in the same way. Maybe we should, and then we should do like a purplish tone on the eye. So let me grab a purple color, sort of like this, and let me tone down the opacity quite a lot. Sort of like that. There you go. That works for me. There you go. I think that's pretty attractive. It's just, getting more of the face in the warm highlight. And I think we could do the same for him. But other issues, this side feels just way too light. I think just getting this is like a darker color here. I think we should go like way darker with this and probably shift the tone to again a colder color. So, and we should most definitely make this whole side way darker. Just like that. And way darker. There you go. You see? And most definitely because you already have like some highlights here on this side. I think let me grab this like lip color. Okay. I think because the light is now coming a little bit from here, I think we should probably have some more of this brown tones there on the lip. Probably just a little bit darker. There you go. But some of those hints. And let me. I know what I want. So now that we have this darker, and since you already have this like kind of glow from these mushrooms here, I think at least that's what it's giving us. I think we should 100% lean on this and sketch some highlights of with this color. Like on this side, this will also add some definition and will act sort of as a rim light effect. I think you should lean on this heavily on here, like that, like that, and like that. Like quite, we can probably go like nuts with this, just like this, and we can obviously increase this. Like that and like that, there, and there. And obviously also here, the side of the nose and the side of the mouth here, just like that. Let me grab some of the darker blue. And some of this lighter blue, but turn down the opacity quite a lot. And make this whole side, this way bigger. Turn this whole side quite a lot bluer. Like that. And then we can just go like super hard with the highlights here. And the leaves and all of that. I just feel like this provides like a way more attractive rendering for the face of this guy, especially on the big like tree man, because otherwise it just feels very empty. And because you already did this like kind of this like OSL work, I think we should just like go like really hard on it. Some of the other issues, this side of the face feels great now that we add a little bit more highlights on the eyes and all that stuff. Another detail is just that his face feels a little bit too flat, and I think we should just do the same thing that we've done with the tree and darken him down a little bit. He really needs a little bit more contrast. Okay, this brush is not working at all. Go down. Go down. Go down. I think. Scratch. I think I'm going to go with this one. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, this is so much better. So, I think we should lean in on the darker nature here on this side, like quite a lot darker. Maybe this is not the right color. You will probably have to find a color that works better than this. Also, it's really not the same when you're doing it um, with a computer than with a with your paint. But this needs to be quite darker on this side. That's at least what I feel. That. Probably not that much here. It's better, more balanced, like that. And then we can do the same that we did here, but we can probably use a different color, like a light purple color or a light blue color. Sort of like this. And we can highlight this side. Or something like that. You can play with that and do something, but it really needs something on this side. You either darken it down and just leave it dark, or do something. Here, for example, the same issue is happening where we see this nice contours on the top, but then it's just flat. I would just do some of this. This is probably just enough, so we just don't have that. But we can probably go a little bit darker, especially a little lighter, especially on this side here, just like that. You see, now it just doesn't feel empty anymore. See the difference there. And when you do texture like this, which is fabulous, you need to do something on top of the texture or modulate the texture as you go, otherwise it just looks flat. So what I would do is take this darker gray color, just making it way darker, and I'm going to make it very transparent, so as a glaze, and you should do that as a glaze. And you can put it on top of the texture. And by building up layers of this on top of the texture, just like this and this, sort of what Sergio Calvo does, where he paints texture and then glazes on top of it. It just creates a way more realistic feeling cloth. Here the same. This is all right, but then you have to go inside here, like quite a lot. Just, modulate this and create some interest with transparent paints. There. And here, obviously. But basically, this is it. The face needed a little bit more contrast on this side, quite like the other side is quite good. And here I already did it. I did it like this purple. I think probably now in retrospective, I think doing this kind of blue glow would be probably the best choice, or something a little bit more subtle. Let me try and do something. Let me try and do something. Let's see if it works. So I think if we desaturate that a little bit, oh, damn it. Yeah, that should work. Okay, now Oh, now it's working. Okay, sort of like that. Yeah, that works so much better. Now it's a softer kind of color. Oh, thank you, Mark. That's amazing. Thank you very much. Yeah, so essentially, I want to see more contrast, and I would like to see, here, for example, a little bit more blending between these two sections. But all in all, it's a really cool piece. And although the face idea, especially in this guy, I have this guy like super clear, like the tree man guy. I have that 100% clear of what I want to do there. But here, it will probably need a little bit more work because it just wasn't working like this. It just feels like it's not dark enough. But I'm not sure this is the path I would necessarily go. But you get what I'm saying. I want like two sources of light and playing around a little with it with too much. So yeah, sort of like that. But really good job. It's super cool bust, and so far you're doing a great job on it. So keep on going. Let's go next with Paul, and Paul has submitted this. I think this is elves from Big Tricks. I think he said in the email that these weren't released yet, and he was asking for a little bit of feedback on what to get better. I've chosen this image of all of the images that he sent me because it's the one that I think has the most work. Like it's showing the most glaring issues. Not that they have like a lot of problems, but like the most glaring things about this. And I think this is the best view because the others, especially the champion with the NMM sword, was amazing and stuff like that. But I think here, especially in the Bard section, I think this is where this can be improved because so far the work hasn't been super volumetric, and I think that's how we should lean in, like getting this to be more volumetric and less sort of a Foundry Games Workshop style, so to speak. So I think this is the way to go. I'm going to change the opacity and I'm going to make my brush quite larger, and I think we should go. Oh, this is probably too little. There you go. I think probably should go with something a little bit more like this. So where we try to pick up like a very zenithal style, where we go like darker and darker as we go downwards on the horse. Also, you need to paint over the decals. It would be like probably super easy to do with with an airbrush, just like toning down this section, and I always forget to do that, but now I did. So sort of like that, like this, and down here needs a little bit more darkness, like that. Yeah. And you can go like with these highlight colors. We can work on getting them like a little bit more pronounced as again. Like that. And then getting that. Oh. Hey, why are you not working? Oh, there you go. Now it wants to work. Sort of like that, probably. So something to make the horse not look as flat. I know it's not going to be seen like well, but So just give it a little bit more volume. In general, I think that's the next step for you, is moving away from like a very classic GW kind of style to a more volumetric kind of painting, because the rest you are doing so well. It's just trying to not think on the small shapes, but like the big shapes. Like I always say in my classes, not trying to paint the trees, but trying to paint the forest. So you need to think about the whole uh, shape, not just like individual faults and stuff like that. I think that would be probably the next thing. Same for this, really. You can just, accentuate some volumes. Grab some pure white. You know, the how instead of like everything having the same level, we can play more with the volumes and accentuate the stuff, and that kind of thing. I think this should be your next natural kind of a step towards. We can say probably. Let me like this and there you go. Just clean up this so we have a better picture for later. Nice. How would you make the blue armor pop when the horse mostly blue? I don't think it's just making it a different shade of blue. That's the only thing you can do. The horse is whole blue, the armor is blue, so the only thing you can do is what Paul has done here, which is like leave the armor like a dark, like a blued steel look, and paint the horse like a light blue faded color like he's done here. I think that is perfectly done. I have no issues there. It's just that I want to accentuate that I really think Paul, especially Paul, should consider like trying to paint more volumetrically and not so like stylized. So let's move on to the next one. I know I usually take a little bit more time, but I really need to keep moving. So sorry for that, especially if you've been waiting a lot. But this Royal Retinue review, we have here 3 Croxicores, and Lizard Men are the best. So obviously this is one of the best entries because it's absolutely stunning, and it's the best army in Age of Sigmar, so that also helps. Really like the base work, and I really like the general work on basically the whole things. I think the color scheme is really clever. So going from a cold green to a warm green on the chest, I think we can probably do a little bit more in the center of the chest. Let me just see if I can if we can find something that works there. I mean, not that it really needs it, but because we have so much contrast in the scale, I think we could do a little bit more. So I think we can probably push. Oops. I think we could probably push the contrast on the center of the chest a little bit further. Just like that. Yeah, that's working for me. Just like that. So we have a little bit extra attention, like it just feels natural. Same here, we could probably make this. This is shiny because of the shiny paint, but I think that's the only thing I would probably do on the body of these guys. Just trying to, make all of this lighter. Like that. And just toning it down as we move downwards, because we don't want that to be like super prominent like that. And now I think we should center on stuff like the gold and the red. I think both of them need a little bit of work. I personally think the red is a little bit too flat in general. I think probably shading it more would be the best idea. So just making the bottom of the shafts darker, like this. So we have a little bit more of an interest. And I think the biggest issue with these guys is the gold. Because the gold just feels so flat. It's just gold, a wash, and a minimum highlight. I think we could benefit from a little bit more work. That. I think we've just shaded all of this a little bit more. Doing like sort of an NMM kind of pattern. We could do the same here. That. Same for this whole section. We could probably like make this whole part quite darker. Just like that. And then we can go with a bright silver color, like pure silver, and even later on probably silver mixed with white. We could just put some highlights there. Shit. See if I can do that with my computer not crapping itself. There you go. Sort of like that. Have this here. Then we can make a nice edge highlight there with the silver. Sort of like that. And it might not seem like we've done a lot, but we added so much depth and so much contrast to the gold that it really, really shows up. Also, you're doing this kind of shining rocks. I do think you probably need to darken the rocks a little bit more. Just here, like in the center of the rocks. Like that. So that the glow reads better. Look at how much better this reads now than this. There you go. So that's my advice for Craig. And let's move on to Inigo, which is having dinner right now as we do this, as I submitted this absolutely stunning bust, which I also have to paint, so it's a good inspiration to have. There are things I absolutely love about this. For example, the pink armor, I think it's great. I'm not 100% sure about this yellow light in the middle. I get why it's there, but maybe get rid of it. I think maybe because you are mixing stuff like it just reads as I'm seeing it right now. It reads like a white light and then a yellow light on the middle. I don't think that's the way to go. I think it's just a little bit confusing. I think we should just probably just paint out this yellow bit. Let me just do that. So here, just paint it out. Actually, if it wasn't there from the very beginning. And because you either do all of the highlights with that yellow tint or you don't do it. And I think I do like this orange contrasting color, and I think we could probably add this on the other side of the bust because it just, although the bust is stunning, I think we should at least consider a secondary source of light. Also, this highlight here on the inside, although it's not bad necessarily, I'm not sure if I want that there. Let me see if I can do something about that. Would you just work? There you go. So let me just, as a test, get rid of it, or at least tone it down. And let me grab like that nice orange we've been using. Let me saturate it a little bit and see if we could theoretically improve this by, adding a little bit more color to this other side. We could also add like the orange there and lean on it. So the problem with this, so now the face looks much better. Just let me show that. So from that to that, we have more definition, a little bit more interest. The problem we are having now is that once we start doing this, we need to really do that everywhere. So that's the risk you're running. But I think like that for me really works. So if you can probably just lean on this orange a lot on this side. When you're painting a bust, especially nowadays, and especially for a painting competition, which I think this is for a painting competition, you really need to lean on certain things. Although you can't just paint like a normal bust, that's always an option. I think people really like when they see like this, like light play, or sort of like that. I think that's working, and we'll probably have to do that on the hair as well, like on the darker side of the hair. And when you paint about, sorry, I was talking about something, and then I just my brain just shut itself down. When you're painting a bust, you really have to think about a couple of viewing angles, because that's what it just works better, and you can do a lot more interesting things. Although you have to obviously make the whole thing work from all of the angles. This is just orange here. It's a little quite a lot better if you lean on certain angles. So I think, at least as an initial sketch, I think we should go like for this yellow here. Oops. I think that at least from this viewpoint and from like this angle, this is a way more interesting piece now. So look at this, where the hair just feels flat. It just feels like a background element that just doesn't have any kind of life. Just by adding a contrasting light and using orange is a very interesting way of doing it because it contrasts with the hair magnificently, and the whole skin has a little bit of a tealish tone to it, which is like a colder tone, especially on the forehead and stuff. It's a beautiful, beautiful color scheme. I think leaning a lot into this direction. I just think it just feels good. Obviously, this whole cloth you will need to sketch out how to paint it. I'm not going to go into that, but I just feel that it works, and I'm happy with how it looks. So we will probably need to put some orange there now, like on these cuts. That, yeah, that works so well. And here for the cloth, let me grab like a super large brush. I think we should like lean like heavily. The risk with this piece of cloth in the background is how much do you want this to stand out? Like that's really everything here. But it can help to add so much to the piece. Just look at this and look at that. When you are painting for a painting competition, and especially like in this day and age, you need to think about all of these things. You need to think about you know this kind of uh, effects and defining everything. This whole half of the model, like this, for you can't see my hand. This like, let me grab a red paint. So this whole half of the model, like from here to here, this is perfect. I wouldn't touch a single bit of it. Maybe just add a little bit of orange there to integrate everything. On the on this other side, I think it needs a little bit more interest. I think it might look like a lot of work, but it really isn't that much. And I think it would really benefit a lot if it would add a lot more interest into the bust, especially for a like hardcore painting competition as the one you are going to attend. So have that in mind. Let's move on. We have this rat here, halfway there. We've been here for about an hour. I really need to get cracking like super fast. So we have a piece here from Angelos, and this is an army paint job. Grab a look, and I quite like it. I think the main issue I'm having is like all of these areas are just like very monochromatic. And I think when you're painting something like this, the same way that you added like rust on the metal, I think like, because you see this skin here is all the same color. This skin is all the same color. The tail is all the same color. The skin on the rat is all the same color. I think just adding a little bit more something, especially being a like a character model, I think we could add a lot more interest. Let me start with the lighter skin. I just doing some glazes with some purple tones here and there, just like that. It's like not everywhere, just small hints of purple. Oh, I always forget to turn a new layer. Yeah, that works. Let me grab a I think I'm going to add a dark green color, especially here, because rats and green go well together, and just like super thin, just to suggest like a little bit of warp magic going on, just some hints of green here and there, very thin down. You can do this with contrast, you can do this with express. This is obviously like a kind of a slab chop work, so you can just add, you know, a little bit more of that, a little bit more of that there, here and there. There you go. And it might look like we haven't done almost anything, but we have. We've added a lot of interest and quite a lot of color into the piece just by doing this. Don't touch the highlights for an army paint job. You don't need to do that. Just add a little bit more depth, just using different colors. Like we added like the purple and then like a deep green. We can also probably do like a blue here and there. Let's try a blue. You got deep dark blue. We could probably add the blue to the cape, just to make the cape feel a little bit even more different. And because we added green to the skin, I think adding a little bit of blue to the cape would be a great idea. Look how much deep that looks, and how much more interest, just more interesting, if we add those sort of stuff. So here, for example, I would probably go with maybe an orange. There's so much stuff you can do with inks or with contrast or express. This is basically the same thing. But we can probably just add a little bit of orange around the fur here on the head, just like that. And probably here where the hands go in, we can probably get some like a burgundy to highlight like the nose. So sort of like that. That's crazy. I mean, you don't need to do much. It's just a little bit of color, just adding a little bit of color there in the nose. Look at how much more interesting a model looks with a little bit more color. Again, when you just watch like the top painters in the world paint, like what does Sergio Calvo do? He does essentially this, but with a higher level, obviously. But adding more tones on top of other colors just makes it so much more interesting. It just adds so much depth. So let me do that again. See how it looks without and with. We add a lot. Like, I mean a lot. Here I think we could probably do like a deep purple, like this kind of color. I would probably try to increase like the tail here, and I would probably do exactly. Jeremiah here has exactly what you need to do. Is just layer as much color as possible. Nature has variation and light play. Exactly that. I think I would probably highlight the tail a little bit more. I just think it feels like it needs a little bit more highlights. And I think I'm going to shift to a warmer orangey color. This. This. Just like that. Just like that. Just on the very tip at the end. But not at the tip. Just in this section. Because if we highlight the tip, it just looks awful. But if we highlight the middle section, look at the middle section. Look at this section now. Boom. So much better. With a simple highlight there. And again, not going to the very tip of the tail. It's way more interesting if the highlight is in the curved section here than if it's at the very end. So much better. And again, very simple thing, just adding more color into this piece. Look at the face of this guy. Look at the face of this guy. Look at them. Look at the difference. Flat to interesting. Again, more color, more variation, and you can do, like, you can go nuts. I've been painting for my Patreon. So if you've been doubting becoming a patron, we are painting right now the Nurgle horse guy, as I call it, and we are doing it with contrast or express paints over a zenithal, and we are going to add highlights on top. It's going to be awesome. And we've been doing that, adding colors. We have purples there, blues, pinks, you know, burgundies, greens. It's amazing. You can do so much. But yeah, I would probably suggest doing this. It's very easy to do and very approachable, and especially for an army paint job. You don't want to go nuts when painting armies. So another army paint job here from Giuseppe, and this looks amazing. I mean, for an army paint job, you have to paint like a lot of them. I wouldn't do anything else to the dragon or to the guy, because I mean, you could always do like more shading work on the armor, more highlights, but at some point when painting an army, you have to stop. You have to stop because it just doesn't make any sense. What's my biggest concern here is that this whole section, it just feels way too white. It's just, I know what you were trying to do, but I think the yellow should go way up higher. Okay, like that. So let me just zoom in first, and then make this probably a little bit bigger, like that. And I will probably just use the yellow. You can do a dry brush. It's going to be enough. A soft dry brush using like the new kind of style of dry brushes is just more than enough. I think we need to just leave the white at the very tip, like that, and we can go darker, and then we can grab the orange. Okay, and basically you started a little bit too early. You want to do it with your airbrush, you can also probably do something like that, just a single spray with the maybe with a orange, a mix of yellow, fluorescent yellow and fluorescent orange is going to probably like tone this down a little bit from like pure white, because I know what you were trying to do, but it just doesn't read well. Like that. And here, your darker colors start here, but I think this whole section should also be darker. Like this. I think this whole part, damn it. Yes. They should have red here as well, because the flames are, you know, are also like curling up and stuff like that. You need to make the red start way closer to the mouth. Otherwise, this just doesn't read well. Doesn't read like fire necessarily. And I can't paint fluorescent colors here on the computer, so you will have to, like that. You see how much more like fire this looks now compared to this? Like that. There you go. I think basically that. I don't think you should do any more highlighting work on the model itself. The gold armor, again, as with every single thing, TMM, like to do it well, you have to put so much work into it that I don't think, especially for a Stormcast army, is worth the effort. I really don't think so. If you ask me what I would have done, I would have probably chosen a different color for the wing membranes. I would probably make them the same color as the underbody. So maybe I wouldn't change it now. I don't think it's worth your time. But especially on the underside part of the wing, maybe not the top. Maybe it would have left the top red, but I would have probably painted this section like this section of the wings with this color, but then maybe that's just me. But again, I think the main thing here is that the fire needs to be darker, way closer to the mouth than when you started it. The rest looks absolutely perfectly fine for an army. I would be 100% happy and very proud to field an army that looks like this. So let's just move on with Tim. Tim has been painting this entry, looks for a painting competition, probably Golden Demon, if I have to guess. And the main issue I'm having, so he's painted this side and he wants some advice because the other side is going to be the same, but he needs advice now that he can get it. My main issue is that some of the bits, like the weapons and the trumpet, looks a lot like metal, and especially from this angle, some pieces of the armor just doesn't. It looks very flat. Especially here, look how flat that looks. It just, for some reason, looks really flat, and it's hard to find it out. But I think we need to go darker. I think we need a little bit more contrast. Because I think the main difference between the weapons and the rest of the armor is just contrast. It's just here. Here. That helps a bit, and I always forget to activate the other layer. Damn it! I'm such a bad YouTuber. In my defense, I haven't done this in quite a while, so I think just adding more contrast in general is going to help massively. Yeah. This already, especially look at the bracelet here, which is the one you're going to see the difference in. It just helps quite a bit, and I think I know Tim doesn't like them, but I think adding some bounce highlights with some like light orange color, just like that, like that, just like that. That, like that. Look at how much more metallic that looks once we start adding the secondary reflections. And again, if this is for a painting competition, we 100% need to go like to this sort of thing, because that's what what people want to see, man. I know what to tell you. Like this. I know it probably doesn't make sense in the like atmosphere you are trying to paint this, but it really helps. Oh, sorry, didn't have time to make a decent photo, so no time to add more reflections. Probably, I know your work, Tim, so probably this is just an issue with the lighting on the photo. So probably that's the main thing. But just as a consideration, just with what I have to work with, this is probably what I would like a straight up jump onto, which is something like this to add in a little bit more interest and a little bit more of a metallic sheen. But again, it's probably an issue with the photo. I know how you paint, but I have to work with what I have. Essentially, I think parts like the cloak, especially here, this cloak, Let me grab a nitro blue color. There you go. Could also probably do with a little bit more highlighting, more volumetric highlights. And if the light is coming from this direction, now I just saw that. Let me erase this rather quickly. So if the light is coming from that direction, you probably have to lean heavily on that volumetric highlight, like this, like more highlights. I think especially the blue on the cloak need way more highlights. At least not more necessarily, but probably more intense, like that. So we have good definition, and that cloak feels now like it just feels like it just fits with the rest of the paint job, because you have a super contrasty paint job, and then the cloak just feels a little bit flat. And again, I just guessing that this is for the painting for Golden Demon, probably, because it's in Germany now, so it's pretty close. So my guess would be like you need to have the cloak in the same contrast level as the rest of the stuff. Otherwise, they are probably going to say something about that, because they are like that, Golden Demon judges how they are. But yeah, really, like, amazing job. I mean, winning the Golden Demon in the actual like space we live in is a absolute like it's just not feasible. But I'm 100% sure you would at least get a pin or something like that. It looks amazing. So good job. We have the two last entries. These are two from Abe, and Abe asked if he could submit two entries, and I said yes, because it's been quite a long time since I haven't done it. So I actually said yes, and he's painted this beautiful ultramarine. The banner is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at this texture, man. This is what I was telling. Like, texture needs to go up in highlights and shadows. I'm not going to touch this. It's absolutely magnificent. If this is our ultramarines, just as a nerdy stuff, I think that like the color should be darker on the marine itself. Especially if you're going to do like white helmet, because he's a veteran, so white helmet, white eagle. The blue needs to be quite darker than this. It's just way too close. The blue on the chest, the blue on the armor, and the blue on the eagle just feels like way too close in color, and that clashes a little bit. And the weathering is pretty good, but I think that would probably be what I would. Oh no, I knew it was something. I was seeing something before. So what I would do essentially is, if you don't want to darken down the armor, which is, I mean, whatever, but that would be my advice, that the armor needs to be darker. Also, you have unpainted elements on the base, like these rocks are not painted. Paint them. Like, it just feels like unpainted rocks on top of the rest of the stuff, and it really stands out. So I think that painting the rocks, or at least washing them or doing something on top of them to make them more integrated, and maybe some highlights afterwards, that could be a good thing to do. And main advice, you're doing like NMM trim on the armor, and you haven't done NMM trim on this banner. I think you should. I think this shouldn't be yellow. I think this should be gold. So let me grab gold colors. That. Oh, he's here. Oh, hello. How are you? The gem at the top of the banner is incredible. Yes, pretty good. Like, Abe is an amazing painter. We've been doing some classes together, and it's been a joy. So I think I think we should do like the element thing here on the banner. So like here. Here. And then we should just jump into the like ice yellow kind of territory. There you go. Like this and this. You know how to paint an MM, but I need to show the people. Like that. And we will have to go with an 100% opacity, probably white, so the resolution of the image for the edge highlights. Yeah, exactly. Make it like if you wanted to look yellow, that's very difficult. So I would just jump straight into just doing them gold. I wouldn't even bother with trying to make them look like yellow. It just doesn't make any sense for me. Like that. It's making it just looks it's going to look way better if they are like gold. And it's going to make the whole thing like read better in general. Yeah. But you already know how to paint an MM gold, but look at how much better that looks with that like trying to be like gold instead of yellow. Oh, that looked like shit. But you do get the idea. And the same thing for these two things here. For these two things here, like here. No, I mean that is fine. I just I think you. I actually told you, yeah, I'm going to do two entries for the people that won, and then I forgot to mention it. But I'm more than happy to do two. Like 100% more than like super happy. Like that, probably there, there, there. Then just we can move like to the gold bits. Like to make them super shiny like that. It just looks better if they are trying to be golden rather than trying to be yellow. With element, how do you decide what to put the dark colors and the bright colors? You just do it randomly. When the surface is mostly flat, you just do choose one spot to do like a highlight or a shadow, and then just do like a pattern, and that's it. That's the only thing. Oh yeah, a cheat that uses flashlight. Yeah, that is a good cheat. And again, oh, and here, I think this here, we could probably increase the highlights there, like that, like way more, and then I will like take this darker color, make this whole thing darker, and then take like a mid color, just put it there, just like that. Way better. Same thing. Okay, let's move on to the last one. And this is the last entry. This is a beautifully painted, massive bust. It's like 8 inches, which I don't know how much that is in centimeters, but I think it's quite a lot. So this is a big piece. And everything here is beautiful. like a lot of airbrush work that is really well executed, beautiful, like pattern, like hand painted stuff. It's amazing, but the thing is her eyes. Her eyes look, they look a little bit weird. I'm not going to lie. And the lips, eyes and lips are the two things that just stand out to me as like they are not working. One of the things I think with the eyes especially is that the sculpt is not helping you. Her eyes are way too big. Like they are massive. First time I watched makeup videos, exactly. So her eyes are way too big. Like sculpt wise, not your fault. So when you do the iris, it needs to be quite bigger because right now it's a very small iris and a very big eye. So let me redo the eye. Oh, let me start with a bigger thing. So I think the eye should be at least this big. So when you're painting eyes and you want them to look like natural, like in a natural position, like in a natural like look, it needs to be like touching at the very bottom and cut at the top. That's basically how it works. But her eyes are massive. So let me just redo the whole eye. I'm going to paint it again using these colors as a reference. How we talked about painting eyes. We did this in one of our private classes. So sort of like this. Now I'm going to take a black color. Just painting like the middle there. And then like a pure white. And just paint the reflection. Like this eye doesn't look good either. But the problem is not you. The problem is that the eye is massive. It is a huge eye. So there is very little you can do. You either have her looking like really surprised, or you lean into the eye and make it like super anime looking. That's the only two options you have. There is no way to make these eyes look natural. Another thing you can probably try and do is like trying to make, damn it, there you go. You're probably trying to put more black on the surroundings. So even if it doesn't, even if it starts like if you have to paint a little bit of the inside of the eye, you probably want to like paint more black on the inside. So let me erase the eye that I just painted. There you go. And let me try and fix this. Brush, there you go. See, if I sculpt with paint, just taking this black or a very dark gray more around the eyes, look at how much better she looks. You know, just a tiny bit. A tiny bit. You probably don't have to repaint the eyes. Now, just doing this works. Just try to put a little bit of a darker gray around the eye. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Also the lips. Although I do get what you were trying to go for, I really don't like the like super like like defined lips with the dark line. So I would probably try to, you know, make it a bit more natural looking just by removing that. Probably here with a lighter color like that. For some reason, when I see this sculpt, it just I feel like it would look better if her lip was, you know, a little bit more natural in shape and not like super heavy makeup. That looks much better. I think I want to lean in probably a little bit more of a shadow, like the upper lip, just make it a little bit darker. In general, like darken it down a little bit more. And then I think you did like now, because we darkened the top lip a little bit more, that highlight that you added there just looks better. I feel like this, she looks way more natural and overall a better looking face. So from there to there, just a little bit more natural. Yeah, the top lip is huge. Yeah, I mean this is like probably not is really not a natural sculpt. So trying to do like a naturalistic paint job like that, you need to sort of sculpt with paint. You need to modify the shape just using paint, and it's quite hard to do. So I get it. Couple more things. I would take like a light brown color, like this that you used for the hair here, and I would probably add it a little bit to in the eyebrows, like that. And probably we can probably jump into like a little bit more highlighted, like that. Like that, so much better. And for the hair, you have the hair starting in the right direction, which is like a band of highlight here. I would probably lean on this and just like make it, you know, very shiny and very reflective, just around that section there, like that. But not going into like super dusty colors. You don't want it to look like it's dusty. You want it to look shiny. So one thing we can do is just move almost to pure white. Go there, please. There you go. Just do a highlight in the middle there, just to make her hair look super shiny, like that. Look at how much better the hair looks compared. There you go. There you go. That's probably what I would do, and I wouldn't do like a lot more because I it's such a big bust. I think you already did a lot with all of this freehand, beautiful freehand work. So I think just fixing the face and just uh maybe doing a little bit more interesting hair so it looks better. The hair broke 10 times, but yeah, this feels flimsy. So yeah, overall, really good job, and I think I'm done. So thank you all very much for being here. If you want to take part in the Royal Retinue review, please join my Patreon in the tiers metams or above. And once a month, you will be able to do this if I'm not traveling too much, which hopefully it won't happen until next summer. So we are safe for that. Thank you very much for being here, and I really appreciate everyone taking part and everyone helping me out by giving me their money. It's as clear as that. It really means that I can do this for a living and be quite comfortable and quite happy. So I really appreciate it. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye.